Alright, my dear warriors, we are back here on the channel, and today, yes, we got some things to go over from the upcoming new DLC for Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. But before we do so, my Z warriors, do us a favor, like the video, and also subscribe here to the YouTube channel, where we always try to give our 2 ZENI on content for Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. Now, with that said, let's head over to the Twitter feeds for some new information. Upcoming arc for Dragon Ball Z Kakarot DLC 5 Trouble at Tenkaichi Budokai arc. Now, this is of course courtesy of DBS Hype, and this was actually dropped on February 16, but we cover also another games here, Star Trek Online, actually Star Trek, but whenever we get a chance to drop down our thoughts on one of my favorite Dragon Ball Z games, we will do so. So here is that image that we got, which was a scan, and I wanted to kind of go over it because there are some things that caught our attention. So again, this is from the OG, or this is going to be coming from the original Dragon Ball series, which is the Budokai tournament. And we can see at the very top here that famous image that they use, of course, in the last sort of teaser that they did, and everyone lost their mind. And of course, we also see a new model of Goku. He is not as muscular, and he does actually look a little bit younger. Now, that is just of course, an art of him, but we'll have to see in game how he does look like when it comes to the model, if they're going to reuse the model that we have now in the story. Now, we'll go to this next image here where you see Bulma, of course, Goku again, of course, Master Roshi, Launch, I believe that's Launch, Puar, and Oolong. So we're going to be graced again with some awesome cutscenes that Dragon Ball Z Kakarot is known for, and we are here for it, and we cannot wait. And then we have here at the right side, looks like the tournament board of the fights that will be in this DLC. Now, I want to take this opportunity and kind of throw in, like I said, my 2 ZENI. I'm wondering what type of exploration we're going to have here, if there is going to be, because the map, again, is probably going to be concentrated in the southern islands there of the Dragon Ball Z world map in Kakarot. If there's going to be any subquests. So one of the ways that you can gain and or farm orbs is, of course, through the world, but also patrols. So I'm wondering how that's going to look like. Now, you're probably going to be able to traverse quickly through the whatever map you're on via Nimbus, I believe. But then are you going to have the patrols? And the patrols are just going to be the Red Ribbon Army again. So just reuse patrols. And again, those are a great source of ZENI, not only orbs, but also experience as well. So I wonder if we're going to be able to do that and be able to somewhat level that way as well. Now, I know when you go through the story, as you go through the story, progress through it, and you go through fights, you do actually get rewarded with orbs and such that you need to level up your skill tree. And of course, that brings us to that next talking point, well, the skill tree. What moves are we going to have or not have? Now, there's probably going to be just different variations of what we have, and or like the early variations that we have. So this Kamehameha, that's not going to be, of course, the limit breaking Kamehameha, but maybe just the basic Kamehameha. Meteor smash type combo where either gut punch, a body smash, definitely you're going to need that there, and an overhead smash, and probably some sort of combo rush. So again, I say that to say, well, how are we going to fill that up? Is it just going to be through the storage, or are we going to be able to traverse through a map where we, again, can maybe possibly go up against patrols to level up our skill tree that way? So it's interesting thought there. Now, below that is the image of the fighters that will be in there. Now, you see Piccolo, Tien, Goku, Chi-Chi, Krillin, and, of course, the one and only Yamcha. So I don't think we're going to always be Goku, so I hope we get a chance to be some of the rest of the characters. Now, in the main game, we get to actually control Piccolo. And the rest, so Tien, Krillin, and Yamcha, are just support characters. And we don't necessarily get to use them. And of course, Chi-Chi is there as well. It would be nice if we'd be able to actually use the fighters that we have not used. Yes, obviously we'll get to use Goku. Probably not Piccolo because he's our main villain in this story here. But it'd be nice that in the match that Tien has, we're Tien and Krillin and Yamcha. And maybe even Chi-Chi. Chi-Chi, why not? Give some Chi-Chi some love there. Now, in the main story of Z, in the Buu tournament arc, there is a brief moments where we get to control Goten. And this is right before the tournament starts. And also, there was the drop, of course, of Gotenks' character, the fusion. So we can use Gotenks, but of course that's after the fusion. We just have to have Goten and or Trunks in our party so that they can fuse. Now, having said that, it would again be nice that this time around they unlock everyone so that we can use them. I don't mind training with Goku, obviously using Goku, Piccolo, Vegeta, Trunks, and Gohan. But those are the only 5, with all those other characters being support characters. Again, it would be nice if we can finally be able to use them. I guess maybe even in this DLC, but it'd be nice to also unlock them in the main story to be able to use them. They don't have to be super overpowered. Just basic skill trees, basic attacks, so that we can actually have them kind of solo out patrolled by themselves. Because a lot of people do like, Krillin would like to use Yamcha. I know a perfect friend of ours here of the channel that would love to use Yamcha as their main character there to fly around in the Dragon Ball Z Kakarot universe. So again, just it would be nice to see if we are able to use the other characters other than Goku. And here you can see this is the cutscene, I believe, from the upcoming DLC. And you see Goku is not as muscular, and he does again look young, with everyone looking their younger selves here in this, because again this takes place in the Dragon Ball timeline. Now, the big nani here is, yes, we do actually get to fight the big Piccolo. And this looks like it is from the in-game fight. You can tell by that red aura right in front of Piccolo and that Goku is standing. It looks like just an area of effect marker indicating its hit zone. And Goku is there, but you can also see he is grounded. So that's quite interesting. I'm not sure if we can zoom in on that a little bit. There. Probably as best as we can do at this point. But regardless, it is something that it would be interesting to know what they're going to do to revamp the fighting system in terms of this in the new DLC. Now, all the combos that we learned, obviously we're not going to have. So this is going to be brand new combo system that they're, fighting engine that they're going to create. And again, I said this before, this might open up to other possibilities. And of course, the ultimate one would be the Tournament of Power in Dragon Ball Super. Of course, we just want that content here in Kakarot because, again, this game is just so good at telling the stories with their cutscenes and such. Again, it's not perfect, but it does get the feels done for me. And I know for a lot of others, especially a lot of other content creators, you can tell that they love this game and they're very passionate for it. And, a huge shout out to DM Gaming because he is one of the first content creators I followed for Dragon Ball Z Kakarot content because he is just really passionate about it. So go check out his channel, of course. But for us, we do still actively play this, but we'll get to that in a little bit here. Going back here to that image there and what we were talking about in terms of the fighting, I want to see how they work. Now, there was Budokai Tenkaichi 3, where you did fight, I believe, in the tournament arena. You were able to fly, and actually you can start on the ground, but you would get knocked out of the invisible barrier. And I did mention that briefly in my other videos, that there's going to be this invisible barrier that you can't fly off or beyond. But again, that would be somewhat cheating in a sense that they didn't really know how to fly back then. And then hence why I brought up before at the beginning of this video about the flying around. You'd probably do that in Nimbus, because could you imagine just running around the world to get orbs or patrols and stuff? I think they'd at least be able to give us Nimbus to do so, to traverse the map there. But it'd be interesting to see how this works, because of course the mechanics in Kakarot as it is now is you're flying all the time. You don't rarely ever touch the ground unless you're smashed into the ground, but then after that you're floating. So you can see Goku there about to get smashed by Piccolo, which is, of course, he's on the ground. Goku is grounded, and of course this seems like it's near the end there, as his shirt is off and he's already received some battle damage. So again, wanted to see how this is going to pan out. I do hope it is a new system and that this system can then be implemented in the end game of having Dragon Ball Super, the Tournament of Power, in here, because that would just be awesome. There's a lot more content that they could shove in this game. Now, of course, this is only Season Pass 2. I believe that this could be the make it or break it in terms of getting additional seasons, because originally I thought it was going to be Bardock and then maybe Cooler and then Broly, but then they threw this curveball being Dragon Ball, which just opens up again the possibilities of everything now in play for Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. So you still have all the movies to go through, like I said, Cooler, Broly, Lord Slug. You have all those other Dragon Ball Z movies, the androids, more of those androids there, Bojack, all that can be in play. And then of course Dragon Ball Super, Goku Black, and the Tournament Power, the tournament between Universe 6 and 7, all of that, we want that here. I want that here. So that would be quite interesting to see how this plays out. And because they threw that Dragon Ball as the 5th DLC here, I'm not even sure what the last DLC would be in this one. I don't know which direction they were going to just yank us, because it feels like this was a curveball and out of left field. Now, it's welcomed. I will admit I didn't start on Dragon Ball. I started on Dragon Ball Z, and nor have I watched Dragon Ball, but this may turn me into a fan of it. Now, also the other thing is it just going to be concentrated in this tournament arena place, or the South Island map? That map isn't that very big. You have 2 major land masses, one that holds obviously the tournament arena, but the other one is Ginger Town. That's it. So there's not a lot of exploration to be had there. You probably have obviously Kami's Lookout, hopefully, but again, what type of sub-stories does that open up to us? Because that's also another way to get experience, obviously, and even some more emblems that you can use on your community board. So exciting stuff. I was hoping that we would get news here pretty soon, because I feel like this is going to be released around the summertime. I'm not sure if that does mention that, but regardless, we are excited for it. And before we end the video, Cap, we just do want to invite you over to our Twitch channel, because this is actually where we still actively play Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, with last night being us just finishing the end of Boo, and of course going through those awesome cutscenes. And yes, I do title it 500 hours of training, because this is my 3rd save file, and we just kind of went through it bare bones to go through the story. And this is our first time playing through just on hard, because the last time that we played through Kakarot, there was no option of the hard mode. And all I can say is with the hard mode, all they do is just the enemies that you fight just go into their super armors more often than not, and you just have to learn what their attacks are so you can dodge them. But I will be continuing to do so. So right now, as of this video, we are going to be finishing up the sub stories, and then we're going to head off to Season 1 DLC 1 and then 2. Then after that, we're going to go back to probably one of our main save files where we have everything maxed out, and just continue on with our villainous training. And if we feel the need to, again, we can start all over again from the Bardock to the main story of Z, and then probably just rush it this time. But having gone through just the main story, it was just a treat. Again, I love Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. in how they tell the stories. It's not perfect. There's a lot of things missing, and one noticeable scene that they're missing from Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, the main story, is Vegeta's final flash against Cell. That was, I felt like, a major thing, and it's a wasted opportunity, I believe, because Vegeta's final flash can, in that scene, actually goes off the earth. And when you finish an enemy with Vegeta in his surge mode using final flash, it does not cut to that animation of it going through the earth. So, you know, I felt that that is one of the things that is a missed opportunity, and I thought they would actually bring that back in the story of Trunks. That was one of my theories, that they would actually have that cutscene in the story of Trunks, but even then, there was nothing there. So I'd say out of all the content outside the main story, the Trunks DLC is still one of the best, and has actually gotten me to be a fan of Trunks, because Trunks is a character that I could never really connect to, even when I did watch the story of Trunks. But Kakarot did such a great job in invoking emotion, invoking how weak you actually are against the androids. You think that they're a pushover there? They're not. They can actually hurt you pretty bad. And if I wasn't even careful, they were kicking my butt there in the DLC. But again, hopefully the turn, you know, and Bardock, going into Bardock was a great opportunity to tell, of course, a story of Bardock. I enjoyed it, and again, set the tone for this season. And now hopefully this new DLC for Kakarot here, the Trouble at Tenkaichi Budokai arc, will also just open up a plethora of seasons here, so that this game also gets some love and updates that it deserves, as I really do feel that it deserves it. So there you go. We just thought we would go over that, drop this video, and of course our two ZENI thoughts on the upcoming new DLC. So like the video, my Z Warriors, comment below, and of course subscribe here to our channel here, where we try to cover things Kakarot, but also I invite you to our Twitch channel to see us play Kakarot still actively, and we can have a discussion there live on stream, where we can just talk all things Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. With that said, my Z Warriors, keep up your training, and until the next news, take care.